Last night, I was getting very frustrated because there's this one person that was incredibly upsetting to me. And it's about the birthing scene from Justin Baldoni's from the movie. And I'm going to try to explain this in a very easy to understand, like as far as I can make it make sense. Okay. So, I've worked on many sets in my life through when I was in casting, right? I used to be a casting director. For 15 years, I was a casting director, and then I was an agent. I represented actors. I was, a scripted talent agent, and I represented adult actors. However, I never, when I represented adult actors, I definitely hired actors, or some of my actors that I put on sets had to some of them definitely did like more R-rated stuff, but when I was casting, it was mostly family-friendly content. Like, very rarely, I never did very I doubt I really did nudity. I don't think I really did much of that. It was mostly family friendly, and once in a while I did like a CW thing or a MTV. They used to have scripted shows on MTV for a little while there. That was like a little bit risque, but we never did major nudity or sex scenes or anything like that. So I'm not the person that like would know from a casting perspective what that is. But I definitely worked with SAG, and remember, this was back in the, 2010s. I stopped doing this in 2017. So all I know is that as an actor, when you work on a SAG project, of course there's rules about this. And of course, we all know about intimacy coordinators and everything. But one thing I know about common sense, there's common sense and then there's like rules. Okay. And I'm not someone that knows what really went down on It Ends With Us, the set. I wasn't there. I have no friends that were on the set. I have no insight about how it really went down on the set. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. All I know is that from my experience of being on sets, there are rules and then there's personal experience. Okay. If if everything that we're hearing about Blake Lively on this set of this movie is true, Blake Lively was not a wallflower. Tell me if I'm wrong here, okay? Blake Lively was not someone that was shy, scared to talk, scared to share her feelings, scared to share her opinions, scared to share what she wanted to wear, what she wanted to do, what she wanted to say, how she wanted to kiss, how she wanted to enter a room, right? Okay. We're very aware now, reading the complaints, seeing the budget of the movie with the wardrobe, even watching the dancing scene that has been revealed, that Blake Lively was not shy in revealing her wants and needs on this set. This is very different than, for example, the case of Devin LaBella, who was the stunt woman and the stand-in against Kevin Costner, which is still an ongoing case as far as I know, where she literally had no power on that set, and she was very probably shy and weak and probably uncomfortable when Kevin Costner, her director, and the other people on the set basically said, "Go lay down and we're going to have this man simulate sex with you." And she probably was like, okay. Blake Lively knew what she was doing. She knew exactly who to talk to. She knew she was a producer, an executive producer on this set. Okay. Okay. If okay. The day of the birthing scene, I'm going to pull up some things here. Hold on. And I'm trying really hard to say everything I can By the way, really fast, everything I say here is my own opinion. It's all alleged. I have absolutely no facts from the day. I'm just going off my opinion. Okay. I'm just going off my opinion as someone that has been on many sets, who's had conversations today with my cameraman, DP husband, who literally is on set right now. Talked to him about this, went over the call sheet with him. I spoke on DM with a huge producer who is very anti Blake Lively, and she's a big film producer. I spoke to her today over DM. And I spoke to an AD who I've worked with for many years, an assistant director who I've worked with for many years on Disney shows and Nickelodeon shows in DM today about this specific issue. Okay. So I'm not coming just only solely from my own experience, because I was very, very perturbed by this back and forth last night. So there is this back and forth because over the weekend, this beautiful statement got released in support of Justin Baldoni. And I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it. It's from this wonderful director, choreographer named, I'm going to pull it up. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it. Her Instagram name is Mara Inspirations, Miranda Davis. It's pinned on her page. I'm not going to read it for you guys because a lot of you guys have already seen it, but it was in support of Justin Baldoni. And she essentially says in this, I have lived my life as both of a survivor. I have worked with Justin over a decade. I know him so well. We have worked together as a documentary, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in this, there's a multiple photos. After speaking, there's a ton of photos, and then there's also so this is the variety of photos. Here she is on Dancing with the Stars. She's a director on Dancing with the Stars. So I think my husband actually may know her. I didn't even ask. So a ton of different photos showing just how long they've known each other. They've worked together. They've been on red carpets together. She knows his wife. Here she is in some sort of a hospital situation, and there he is. So they're very close. It's obvious. She is with him and his kids. Okay. And ultimately, the picture in question that comes up is this final picture here, where, well, the second to last page is here where she's at the premiere, it looks like. Here's Jamie Heath. There they are at the premiere. And then this picture. And it comes down to this last page where we have her on the set of It Ends With Us. Well, this is like a premiere picture on the top left because you can tell Emily Baldoni's in the dress. And the bottom left is the hospital that they shot the birthing scene day. The whole hospital, all the hospital scenes. It's not just the birthing scene. And then the top right is her on set with, I don't know who that man is. And if you guys know who that man is, please tell me. And then the bottom right is her sitting at what looks to me like Video Village, which, if you guys don't know sets, Video Village is an area that is separate from the actual room where the scene is being shot. It's usually, oh, he's the guy that played the doctor? Okay, I didn't know that. It's usually far away from the set. It's usually, Video Village is usually in a different space, like in a different room. Sometimes it could be just like 10 feet away. It could be 100 feet away, depending on the set. And it's a ton of different monitors and 20, 30 chairs, depending on how many people are there, producers, directors, script supervisors, studio network, whoever needs to be there. Okay. And there's obviously a picture of her taking it's a picture that she took of, or maybe she didn't take. We don't know. It's the picture that she has of the monitor of Justin Baldoni sitting next to Blake Lively, not of Blake Lively giving birth as Lily Bloom, but it's a picture of her and Justin Baldoni holding the baby, which, if you watch the movie, this is in the scene order. It's right after she had the baby when Justin Baldoni comes in and Lily Bloom breaks up with Ryle, says, this is our baby. I don't want to be with you anymore. Okay. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Now, Debbie, Video Village is where Shannon Bedore goes to complain. That's actually really, really true. Oh my gosh, only 288 likes with 1,400 people here. Come on, you guys, get it together. Like the video. Okay. So when I saw this, I didn't even think twice of it. But of course, people started to freak out. And when I mean freak out, no one can just take this for as a grain of salt and be like, wow, this was a really kind thing. People that don't like Justin Baldoni and are pro Blake Lively see this and are immediately like, how can we weaponize this against Justin Baldoni? Because in the comments, someone said something along the lines, Smotherman Justin, who I don't know who that is, but maybe is a friend of her or whatever, says posting the pic that she's there at the birthing scene is all anyone needs to see after this. And a comment apparently of or a comment that she responds here is of a check mark. She responds the check mark being like, I was here and everything was okay, which I imagine her comment with the check is her way of saying, yes, I saw it, I was there, and it was fine. Nothing happened at all. Okay? But of course, everyone's trying to weaponize everything against her. And hold on, I want to see what the other comments here. So of course, so then someone here says the birthing scene that Baldoni claimed was a closed set and no one was allowed there. That wasn't essential. And then Rare Inspiration says correct. Okay. And I just want to make sure that I'm not missing any of the comments here. So people started to, like, most people read this and were like, this is so kind. This is so nice. This was so wonderful. But of course, there's always those people that like to weaponize everything. So this one user over on TikTok, and I won't even give him the ability to, I won't even shout him out here. I just can't. But I have my feelings about what's going on over there. I've done some deep digging, and I think that, whatever, he decided to jump on the case and start pulling out all of these documents and all of these immediately from the complaints about this, and said, whoa, she just lost Justin's case. Well, Justin doesn't even have a case, but she just lost Justin's case because now it proves Blake's case that it wasn't a closed set. Okay. So I want to talk about, like, just for a little bit, why this is so frustrating for me. In his tweets that he was tweeting last night so proudly, he tweeted two things. He tweeted the actual call sheet. Now, I mentioned, of course, that actually this wasn't the birthing scene. If you actually look at it, her legs are not sitting there spread wide open. Okay. And if you've ever been on a production set, if you've ever been on a set, if you've ever even watched anyone shoot anything, what do they say about sets? Hurry up and wait. It probably took 7 hours to shoot that birthing scene. And then another 6 hours between sets. Between scenes. And then they had lunch. And then they had to shoot this. And then they had to do this. And then they had to shoot this. And then they had to do this. And this is honestly how these things go. So there is no guarantee that it was birthing scene and then all of a sudden baby scene. And of course, he had the call sheet to prove you're right. Even though Baldoni has proved you're exactly right. This is exactly what happened. This scene was right before, according to his own call sheet. So let me show you the call sheet that this man pulled up according to Baldoni's claim. And it says, on the It Ends With Us crew call, it says this was done on Monday, May 22nd, 2023. And it says the scene 107 was as Lily cradles Emmy, who asks Ryle for a divorce. And that was in the morning. And then the next scene, and of course, there's no timing here because on sets, you can't do any timing. There's no timing that you can do here because you never know exactly how long these things are going to go. But the next scene, of course, is when Lily is in labor. And then finally, the last scene is when Lily finds out that she's pregnant. So then they did the exam way later. All right. And as you can see, there's multiple different people that are in the cast. Obviously, 1 and 2 are Ryle and Lily. And then, Lily is in labor as Ryle, Lily, and the doctor. And then, of course, Ryle, Lily, and the other doctor for the exam. Okay. What he's focusing on here is that it's a closed set. But what he's not focusing on here, right next to the circled closed set here, is right after it says, no visitors on set without prior approval. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, according to the 3 sources that I talked to today, what does without prior approval mean? Well, all 3 said they had to get approval from the director, from the producers, from the production company, somehow. So you're telling me that if she was on set, she probably had to get approval from someone? Yes. So, without any confirmation whatsoever from anyone anywhere, this guy is going out there and making claims that Justin Baldoni himself and Wayfarer made this an unsafe set completely because this woman, who is clearly in the industry, who has clearly worked with Justin Baldoni, who is a director, who is a choreographer, who is a survivor of trauma, who is not just some random Joe Schmo off the streets, who is sitting there professionally as a woman watching a scene where she's cradling Lily hours before the birth scene where her legs are spread open, is sitting there probably so proud of her friend Justin Baldoni shooting a damn scene, and she's sitting there probably so happy to be there and is supporting her friend. Is now Justin Baldoni is making it an unsafe set for Blake Lively. You can't make this shit up. You want to know what unsafe sets are? Let me teach you about some unsafe sets. To the men like him who were on there last night weaponizing this shit against me, calling me dumb, calling me dense, calling me stupid, as someone who has been sexually harassed multiple times on set by writers, by producers, many times in my early 20s as a young casting director on different shows. I can tell you, there are many things that have happened on sets. I grew up in the Dan Schneider era on Nickelodeon, okay? There's so many unsafe sets. This woman does not make an unsafe set. And I'm sorry, Blake Lively has so many people around her in her corner at all times. She's got assistants, she's got directors. I mean, she's got her people, she's got her PR people, she's got her agents, she's got her managers. She didn't have the ability to say, I don't want that woman here. Is she such a wallflower? She's like, I'm holding a baby. I don't want a woman to see me from Video Village. Are you fucking kidding me? When did Blake Lively become such a goddamn prude? But let's take it a little further. He starts to bring up this SAG-AFTRA shit. Well, according to SAG-AFTRA, a closed set is a closed set, and it was all on one day. And if it's a closed set, it's a closed set. Well, SAG-AFTRA can say everything that they want all the time, but ultimately, it's up to production. And if Blake Lively wanted her daughter there on set, she could have made it, even though her daughter is not essential. And if she wanted Ryan Reynolds to be there, he could have been there. He's not essential. If she wanted Hugh Jackman to be there in her vagina, he could have been there. He's not essential either. Blake Lively could have had Taylor Swift there with a guitar. It doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want if you're a producer, if you're a director, if you're the lead. You can change the rules. SAG-AFTRA is just there as like a suggested situation. It's so frustrating. But also, let's take it a step further. I asked Grok just this morning. When it comes to a movie scene, according to SAG-AFTRA, are birthing scenes considered intimate? According to posts found on X, SAG-AFTRA doesn't typically classify birthing scenes as intimate, so they wouldn't automatically require an intimacy coordinator like sex scenes do. Since when are birthing scenes all of a sudden porn? I'm so frustrated. Why are we all of a sudden treating this like this poor little it's so upsetting to me because she's making mountains out of molehills, and this is why we don't believe women, because of her. Because now when some woman comes on set and she says, no, a man simulated sex with me, but he actually stuck his penis into my vagina, we're going to say, I don't know if I believe you. That's the problem. Because of Blake Lively. Because of Blake Lively. Blake Lively created a major problem for all women on every single set from here on forth. And I trust this from the day I die. And I truly believe it. Actually, not even just on sets, in life. And it sucks. It sucks for all women. And every woman out there that has ever experienced any sort of survivor or been a survivor or is ever going to be an actress on set ever again, you should be fucking pissed at her for it. That's how I feel. And that's not a smear campaign. And no one paid me to say that. Blake. That's how I feel.